Welcome, everyone. Welcome to our ceremony today. This is April the 30th, 2022, and we are celebrating Beltane, the new moon, and a solar eclipse. So this is a powerful event today. And I don't know if you can still see the smoke, but I've been smudging here for about 15 minutes, and we'll continue to do that for a little bit. But before I call the directions, let me put myself on full screen for you, because I'd like to introduce you, because we're doing Beltane, the Earth, we're doing the new moon, and we're doing the sun because it's a solar eclipse. So I've brought a few friends along to join us. So the sun is center stage here. It's very interesting. Many of the artistic representations of the moon very often are men, though we tend to think of the moon very often as part of the goddess realm as well. So I have a little of both with that. But I have the sun and the moon over here, and I believe she looks like a feminine face, and the moon looks a little masculine, though who knows. And this one really, to me, feels like a masculine moon with some stars coming out. So there's the sun and the moon, and of course, this one has the phases of the moon beneath it. So there's the sun and the moon. Then representing the earth, I have the black bear who takes us into her cave very often when we go into introspection, and an earth goddess with us. The Ankh is the symbol of life in the Egyptian tradition, and then the Eye of Horus is that overseeing eye that greets us all and sees us all. So welcome everyone, welcome. And I had mentioned some of you have come in since I started talking. You might want to gather paper and pen. That's optional, but we may have a couple of spots where you might want to jot down some things. But I want to start with calling the directions, and I'm going to do this a little differently. I'm going to move my camera around so that you can see full body as I do this, because this is Oshun, who is typically associated with as a water goddess. But the reason I brought her out is that she has this beautiful container that receives energy and pours out the energy. And so I want to do that today as I call the directions, gathering the energy from the four directions and from the center and from the stars and moon. And so I bear with me for just a minute as I move my camera around. And I think I need to drop it just a little. So move it just a little further around. And what I want you to see here is the earth. So we're starting the calling of the directions with the earth as the focus here. And this one is somewhat representative of the sun and this whole solar eclipse. I also have on a what's called an Egyptian collar with the scarab representing the sun here as we go into this ceremony. So if you know the directions in your home and you typically do that, then by all means join me, or just sit where you are. So I start with the center and I say, thank you, Thank you, divine light. Thank you for all that is. Thank you for coming with us today as we go into ceremony. And I turn first to the east. To the east, where we call it the rising sun, coming upon earth and pouring the illumination down upon us, pouring that energy in so we can see our pathway, so it illuminates our path as we go on this journey today. And I turn to the south. The south is the direction of fire, the direction of joy and dance and laughter, and it represents Beltane today, as the east represents the sun today. So we have the illumination of the sun, and we call those ancestors in. We have the fire of the south calling in the dance and the rhythm and the joy and the beauty. And we say, come, ancestors, come and enlighten us. Lift us up and let us stand in the joy of the south. Thank you. And I turn to the west. The west today representing the moon, because the moon comes between the earth and the sun to create the eclipse. So thank you, the ancestors of the West. Thank you for taking us into the introspection. Thank you for shining the moon down upon us. Thank you for helping us understand who we are. And I turn to the north. The north is the direction of challenge, the direction of earth, the direction of the ancestors who call us to stand up as warriors of the heart, as we remember who we are. And so I turn back to the east this day to fill the cauldron, the chalice, and I hold my arms in the form of a chalice. And you may, if you wish, join me in holding your arms, forming a chalice or a cauldron. In this shape, my body is the stem of the chalice and my arms hold the energy. And I turn to the east, asking the east to fill up this chalice with the light, the beautiful, glowing light of the sun, illuminating the path of all that is. And I receive this into the chalice and I pour it out onto the earth. And I turn to the south, the direction of joy and laughter and Beltane fire, filling up the chalice with joy, filling the chalice with love, filling the chalice, helping us remember to follow the path of love. And I pour that love and that beauty onto the earth. And I face halfway between the south and the north and gather that energy into my own heart. And as I take it into my heart, I say thank you. And I open and touch the earth, touch my toes, touch the earth, making that connection between heaven and earth. And I turn with the chalice toward the west, asking the moonlight to fill up this chalice, to fill us up with introspection, to fill us up with knowledge of the ancestors, to fill us up with courage to go forth. And I pour this out onto Mother Earth and all of her inhabitants. And I turn to that direction of challenge in the north. And we accept the challenge. we stand and receive the challenge. And we receive with that challenge the courage to stand up, the courage to be and become all that we came here on earth to be. And I pour that light and energy out onto the earth. And I gather from the west and the north and take it into my heart. And once again, touch the earth and touch my toes, connecting above and below and coming back to center. And I come to the center of the wheel, calling to the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets, the Milky Way, all that is out there in what we call space. Fill us up with your light. Fill us up with your knowledge. Fill us up with the courage to be aware of all that is around us. And I pour this knowledge and this courage onto the earth. And I come back full center and say, thank you, divine light, for guiding us. Thank you for filling our chalice. Thank you for showing us the way, helping us remember who we are. And I pour that remembrance onto the earth. And once again, gathering it into my heart. And opening up, touching the earth, touching my toes, connecting above and below as we come full circle into this opening ceremony today to honor Beltane, the new moon, and the solar eclipse. And I say, Aho, Ashi, Amen. Blessed be, Hamdulillah, and so it is. So I come back, and bear with me as I move the camera back around. And here we are today to celebrate these amazing events together. So I would like you, as we go through ceremony today, to participate with me and add comments or ask questions as we go through this. I have a little slideshow, but we're going to have some stops along the way for some things for us to gather in with our energy and our thoughts and our direction. So join me as we go to ceremony. And let me share my screen. These are the women and men on their way to ceremony. And I painted this with the crow because in the Celtic tradition, the Egyptian Sekhmet and the Celtic Morrigan are part of the dark goddess, the dark moon, the direction of introspection, along with the black bear, taking us into the darkness, into the cave. And so the crows or the ravens are flying with us as we take our journey along this beautiful, beautiful ceremony today. So we start with the earth because we're on the earth, and it's our perspective that the moon has changed its phase into the new moon, and our perspective that there is a solar eclipse, a partial eclipse. So we start with the earth, and the eclipse today is somewhere in this region of South America and Antarctica down in here. not much, a small amount of the of people in the world will see this eclipse today, but it is certainly there. And it's a part of our journey and a part of who we are as beings on Earth. So we start with Beltane. Now, Beltane is spelled and pronounced many different ways. Beltane, and Bel is a god of fire, and so there's the legend with that. But Beltane is recognized throughout the Celtic traditions as this day of joy and laughter and ceremony. It's a time for celebration and dance because nature is bursting forth with fertility. Flowers are beginning to come up. Even if you still have snow, you may have those crocuses coming up through the snow. And if you're further south, you already have lots and lots of flowers and things blooming. So, and of course, that's in the northern hemisphere. The southern is in going into winter as we are going toward summer. But with Beltane, it's time for the fire to call forth the light. We've been in winter, we've been in darkness, and we're now in the period of light. And so this is a time for gratitude. So what I would like you to do is watch the Beltane fire, and as you watch the fire, think about things for which you are grateful. And if you have paper and pen, write those things. And if you'd like to post some of that in the chat, that would be lovely too. But just think about things for which you're grateful as the Beltane fire roars. And if you listen carefully, I think you can hear the sound of the fire. So as I watch that fire, that's actually a recording of, I think, possibly last year's Beltane fire. And so what immediately comes to mind is the gratitude for having been able to have Beltane here on this land that I steward, and grateful for the fire, grateful that there is a ceremony field where we can burn the fire. And so if some of you would like to share either in the chat or if you would just unmute yourself, and you don't have to go into detail, or you can go into detail, but share some of the things for which you are grateful on this beautiful fiery celebration of Beltane. Lisa has posted in the chat, I'm grateful for peace and wish it around the world. Yes. Anyone else want to share something? I'm grateful that each of you have chosen to come today. Lynn says, "Great, I'm grateful for my animals and the rain."
Can I speak? Is it okay if I speak?
Yes, please do.
Hi. Hello. I'm quite like speaky. I just was feeling I just felt joy rise up in me as soon as I woke up today. And then have been, hearing about Beltane and it's the joy and everything. And I was asked a question of, what brings you joy? And I just feel like Beltane is bringing the joy up in me. And I'm also kind of learning about, my cycle and how to take care of this, earth of me. And also I have been being more connected to earth and understanding how to have a better relationship with the earth and our surroundings. And just now I've been sort of I'm just reflecting on how far, what I've learned, and I'm just really grateful for the time to replenish. And I'd usually go like, and of course I'm grateful for life and everything. Right now that's just came to me, and I'm just realizing we've lived in a society where we haven't practiced that, the cycle of replenishment, and and it goes for ourselves and for nature, and there you go. That's what I wanted to say. And thank you for this. Thank you. I am so grateful for this community and for meeting you as well. And I'm grateful for a lot of things, but I will end there. It's never ending. Thank you.
Yes, never ending. Thank you. Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? Yes, Janet, go right ahead. Just unmute yourself and go ahead and speak.
Okay, well, one of the things that comes up in me around the sharing of the joy and the dancing and everything is the deep value of friendships, and how blessed and grateful I am for all the friendships of so many different diverse connections. And so that's one that comes up in me. And also I feel great compassion and gratitude for the support that we're seeing in Ukraine at this time. I just feel like, the contrasts are so before us, and the juxtapositions of life. And so I just feel grateful, really grateful for the support and the compassionate little acts of kindness and big acts of kindness that are being shown in this part of the world that needs our light and our love.
Yes, thank you. Jan posted in the chat, "I'm grateful for spring finally bringing color back to the land and the animals." Jan is an artist. "I could not help but see the dark eye in the middle of the fire, very profound, like the fire looking back at me." Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Would anyone else like to share gratitude? Yes. Well, I know that each of you have your own list of things for which you are grateful. And let's see, let me go back to the screen share and continue on with a bit more about Beltane. Beltane is one of the periods. I mean, it's one of the 4 cross-quarter days in the Celtic tradition, and there are the 2 solstices and the 2 equinoxes, but then there are the 4 times in between those, and Beltane is one of those 4. And each of those are times where we can more easily travel between the worlds. Beltane is recognized as one. And so this picture, this is a photograph I took, I think, in Ireland. But I love it because it shows the green and the water fading into so much sunlight that it goes to white. And that's kind of what it reminds me of the solstice with the, I'm sorry, the eclipse with the sun being covered and coming back into light eventually there. And so traveling between worlds, one of the many people attributed with traveling between worlds was a bard called Taliesin. And in the Celtic tradition, it's said that he always manifests at Beltane. He was supposed to have been the bard or the poet in King Arthur's court in Glastonbury. And Glastonbury is one of the many things that's in Glastonbury is the well with this beautiful cover on the well, which is a Vesica Pisces. So I want us to remember the symbol of the Vesica Pisces because it is a symbol of Beltane. The two circles represent multiple things, but one representation is one side is earth, one side is spirit, and the center in between is where we are called to stand. In Celtic tradition, we're called to stand with both feet in both worlds. You often hear people saying, you know, standing in the two worlds, but if you have one foot in one world and one foot in the other world, you're not very stable. I don't know if you can see my picture, but you wobble a little bit. But if you stand in the Vesica Pisces, you have both feet in both worlds at the same time. And you are standing stable, you're standing in balance. And Beltane calls us to stand in balance, to stand in harmony as we move from one season to another. So go with the symbol of Beltane, of the Vesica Pisces for Beltane. And the symbol is a reminder of the eclipse energy, where it covers over and then is revealed again. So the Vesica Pisces has many, many, many different aspects. Anything that you can think of, you know, that are the opposites. The center, the eye of the center is where it comes together. And that is also representative of the eye of Horus, which is in the Egyptian tradition, the all-seeing eye, the all-knowing eye, the place where you connect into the Ankh, and the Ankh has that eye at the top of the cross. So the moon cycles. We go from the Earth to the moon. The moon cycles always offer us new beginnings. The new moon is about starting over. We set our goals and we set our objectives and we set our directions and our plans as the new moon comes, and we work on them and manifest them as they come into the full moon, and then it comes full circle back around to the new moon every 28 point something days. So this time we have the new moon in Taurus. But this is not just a new moon. This is also a solar eclipse time. And the solar eclipses are like, you know, a couple of astrologers say they're like new moons on steroids. You get not just a new beginning, but a powerful new beginning, a time to really open up, a time to really have this powerful energy behind you so that you can open and really put into manifestation a lot of things that you're working on. Now, what you may have been feeling for the past several days is this serious inertia, really difficult time with doing any of the typical things that you do. One of the astrologers I follow wrote in one of her emails that it was so incredibly difficult just to even write the email to get it out because of this period of pulling back with the inertia holding you. And I have found that to be true myself over the past 2 weeks. I've just been, almost stopped from doing the basic things that I wanted to do, and I would just have to sit down and say, I can't do this right now, and then push myself a little further to do it. And so if you've been experiencing that kind of thing over the last week or so, part of that is this particular solar eclipse energy coming in to shake up your world. This is not a comfortable change that we're coming into. Transition is always difficult, but this particular transition, wow, this is really coming in to challenge us. So lots and lots of new things are now set into motion. Some of them you consciously put into motion. What you did with the gratitude work, you've put that into motion, saying, I am grateful for these things. And so the more you express that gratitude, the larger it becomes in this process of where you're going. Because we set intentions like every single day. We just usually are not aware of it. Many of our intentions are very unconscious. So this particular time calls us to really pay attention to what we're thinking, what we're saying, and what we're doing, because this particular new moon with the eclipse will perhaps give us a flash of clarity to help us really remember what's going on. Things are happening. We just may not notice it for a few more days, because this moon, this new moon and eclipse are here to awaken what we were truly born to do in this lifetime. And if you're on that path already, then this will open the doorway for us to move more easily through that path. But if you're kind of not quite sure where you're going with it or what you're doing, it may get really uncomfortable in the next 6 months, because we are in the eclipse season. In about 2 weeks, when we have the full moon, we will have a lunar eclipse. That's why this is called the eclipse season. We have back to back a solar eclipse and a lunar eclipse, the new moon and the full moon. And so we are really in a period of time where we're being shaken up. So this new moon and solar eclipse can bring you a deep understanding of what makes you really happy, who you want to be, and what kind of life you want to live going forward. Or they may really challenge you to look at whatever your status quo is, whatever you're doing. Are you not just in inertia for the last week or two with this new energy coming in, but are you just kind of not really doing what you think you probably maybe sort of should be doing? Are you in that wishy-washy kind of place, or are you really moving forward? Because this new moon and solar eclipse will challenge you to look at yourself, to truly look at yourself, and look at what we would determine to be the good, the bad, the ugly. But in reality, the universe, the cosmic, does not judge it to be good or bad, does not judge it to be ugly or beautiful. It just is. It's who we are. And so we are in this new eclipse energy to stand up and become what I often refer to as the warrior of the heart, the warrior who's willing to step out beyond the traditional path, beyond what makes you just comfortable, and going forward in places that sometimes seem a bit difficult. But when you know you're following your heart, it may take you to places that seem uncomfortable. So this, you've probably all seen this kind of, they call it the diamond ring. When there's a full eclipse of the sun, you get this ring around the sun. And so this is one of the many photographs of that. So the moon phases change, and the moon comes between the earth and the sun, and we get a solar eclipse. So because this eclipse is so strong, because it's like dozens and dozens of new moons all wrapped into one, we have to remember to go with the flow. So whether you're on a very strong, absolute, clearly directed spiritual path, or you're just kind of wondering what your path is, this is a time to really be flexible, a time to really let go, a time to really bend like the trees bend, to bend like we did at the beginning when we filled up the chalice and poured that chalice onto the earth. It's a time to physically bend. It's a time to emotionally bend. It's a time to spiritually bend and sway. And so I'd like you to, I'm going to play it. This is about a 2-minute video of trees swaying in the wind. A couple of you have already seen this. I photographed this from the courtyard of my spiritual center in Egypt, and I was laying on the couch in the courtyard. So you'll watch this as it goes. So as you watch these trees sway and bend, think about the things that you have going on in your life that are not helpful any longer in your spiritual journey. You probably know some of those things. Some of them were totally unconscious, but think about the things that you do recognize that are really not particularly helpful, that you probably maybe should let go. So what are some of those things? What are the things that maybe you want to change? The things that you believe you need to change? What are the things that you refuse to change? So think about that ebb and flow and that bend as we watch the breeze. And I think you can hear the breeze a little bit in the video. So what are the things that you haven't been quite willing to give up? Um, I don't know about you, but I gained some weight during the COVID period, and I'm really having trouble with consistently eating in the way that I know that I should. Mostly I do okay, but that's one of the things in the last 2 weeks I've been really focusing and saying, why am I doing this? I don't have a lot of extra weight, but I've put enough. Like, why haven't I let this go? Why don't I eat correctly? And so that's something in the physical world. And so what are your physical things that you're refusing to let go or change? What are the spiritual things? For me, uh, I teach meditation. I have a weekly meditation group, but I don't, and my intention is to meditate every day, but I don't always meditate every day. So that's one of the things that I have not been willing to change, to put aside whatever else I'm doing and to truly, consistently, not forcing it, but gently flowing with that need and that desire to meditate every day. So, what are some of your issues, your things? Would anyone like to share a little of that? Anyone interested in exposing yourself like I just did?
Yeah, right. I'll do that. Nice job of being vulnerable, Peggy. That was good. I had some relatives over, and my brother-in-law got up and told me that he meditates first thing in the morning because he's awake, and he went through this whole thing. And I never, ever do that. I always do it kind of at the end of the day. And so I kind of learned from that, being in a similar position as you, especially lately with this autoimmune thing. I'm tired, I'm achy, blah, 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 blah. So I'm changing meditation to the morning, and that's going to be a real change for me. Um, I want to open up to a new financial plan. I don't have that nailed down, but I'm taking a class on astrology and money, and I'm sort of getting my arms around that in ways that what are the limitations I have around money and all that kind of stuff. So that's something I want to heal. And basically, I just want to heal this autoimmune thing and let go of the trauma or the effects of the traumas that I'm holding on to for some reason that are causing the different chain of reactions that ends up with this. So, yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Would anyone else like to be vulnerable and share?
I'll share.
Yeah, go ahead, Lisa.
You hear me?
Yes, uh-huh.
I am trying. I've just started meditating. Isn't that crazy that we're all meditating? And my instructor, my teacher has just said, if you could meditate one time before each class, one time during the week before each class. I do not seem to be able to do that. But I use it all the time. If I'm in a traffic jam, if I'm having the dentist work on my teeth, I focus on my breath and it calms me down.
Uh-huh.
So in a way, I'm doing it every day. Anyway, I just wanted to add that since it seemed to be all about meditation, I'd add my 2 bits.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I have a weekly meditation group on Thursdays at 1 o'clock, and I know some of you who are on this call are a part of that already. But if you would like to be a part of that, I just posted, I mean, you probably have my email because I sent out the announcement of this, but I just posted my email there. If you want to be on the mailing list to get a reminder of that every Thursday, send me an email and I can add you to the mailing list. It's at 1 o'clock almost every Thursday. Occasionally there's some reason that I'm not available. But most of the time, I would say out of 52 weeks, we probably meet 50 weeks a year. So if you're interested in that, by all means, send me an email. And you, I mean, not everyone comes every single week. So it's not like you have to make a commitment, absolutely. But if you're interested, do that. So anyone else want to share any of the things that you haven't successfully changed and let go yet? Or any of the things that have come up that you need to consider changing?
I have a tendency to hold stress in my body. And I realized that I've done it since I was a child, holding stress in my cheeks.
Mm.
And I've really made an effort to let that go because I believe it was stress that gave me shingles 7 years ago and gave me the neuralgia as a result that I've had for 7 years. So I want to endeavor to really let go of stress. And it seems like even if I let go of all the big things in my life that are stressful, I will do a really good job of creating stress around doing little bitty things. It's horrible. It's ridiculous. So that's my goal.
Yeah, it's we get into these patterns, and it's really hard to break the patterns. Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Jan. Anyone else want to share?
This is Janet, and I have all of those, the weight gain, the meditation daily, but the one that I'm really kind of perplexed about is that I truly want to write. I know that's one of the ways I connect, and it's a source of spiritual nourishment or whatever. And I'm even taking a class, and I'm Monday is the 5th class, the last class, and I haven't written at all, except I've done the reading, I've done everything but write. So I'm not quite sure and understand what my resistance is. You know, there's 1,000 ways to be distracted, and I'm responding to all of them. And and so, but that's the one I'm kind of working with because I know there's a desire there to do that. And I know that it will take me somewhere I really want to go. And that's unknown to me, but yet I'm not doing it.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, looking for those root causes. That's that's the hardest part. Breaking through. So let this eclipse energy help you, because it's, you know, it's what I typically say about the astrology and the sun and the Milky Way and the moon and stars and planets and everything is that they don't set our quote destiny, but they give us a vibration that we can harmonize with, so that we can make our life harder by not going in the flow of whatever that planetary alignment is, or we can make our life a little bit easier by going with the flow. And so this particular energy with the new moon and the eclipse is this energy is there to help you open up, to help you step into this path that you kind of want to do, or maybe really want to do, but just haven't been able to step past the inertia. So let this energy, because this eclipse season is with us now. We'll have the lunar eclipse in a couple of about 2 weeks, but this energy is with us for 6 months. And so think about this and let yourself be in that flow. And when you find yourself resisting whatever it is that you want to do, just try to take a breath and say, I have the courage to follow through with whatever it is you want to do. Yeah. Anyone else want to share?
Hi. So I say I found it difficult to kind of clearly kind of go, well, what do I want to change or what thing like that, because see, I've been working through PTSD and like trauma for a long time through my life, so it's like I haven't been doing it for a long time, but it's like the trauma has been through and probably, you know, epigenetic as well. And it's quite fascinating, and I'm quite somewhere I'm comfortable with that now. So one of the things that causes because I meditate as well, I can actually kind of see or feel areas of my brain that react in a certain way. So and criticism has been a big thing that sort of was at a young age. So I suppose that impacted me in a traumatic way, if you like. So when I'm thinking about what do I need to change, I'm kind of like I'm reacting, or like there's a tension in me that's reacting in a way of, you know, like that, you know, because it's like I'm going to criticize myself, so I'm shutting down, if you like, or something like that. But at the same time, I'm aware of that, and I do see that. And so today, I feel like I've been going with the flow anyway. I feel like I've been really in balance with everything. But now, since we're talking, I'm kind of feeling that like I'd like to change how I receive all of what I'm, you know, each new step unfolds to me of, oh wow, that's come to light now. So this thing, let's say, for instance, that I've been telling you about, is like maybe I can change how I receive that and how I see that, and just accept every aspect of things that come up in me. And like you said, I love being here now, because this is what it is to be here for you to say, you know, that this time is actually, I feel like it's a chalice, and to just expand into that chalice to allow everything to be and come where it is, but it's not on top of me, anyway, so do you know, that's kind of what I feel is acceptance, and change how I'm receiving. So and therefore I'm retraining myself to relax with anything like that comes up, because it's okay. I'm actually the sky, I'm not the clouds, I'm actually the earth, I'm not the, you know. So thank you. Thank
Yes,
you.
thank you. Thank you. Anyone else want to share? Well, let me go back to, this is the last slide in the series. The breeze, the very air that we breathe, as well as the moon and the sun and Mother Earth and all of our ancestors, call us to remember who we are. They call us to claim our true power, that connection to the divine, that connection to the oneness, which is the power of divine love. It's there. It's not always easy to reach. So what I would say is to just open your heart, open yourself, open your being, and find things that help you trigger what you want to change. because we have all sorts of triggers. We smell food and say, oh, well, I need to eat now. So if let me just use food just because that's one of the things I talked about. So every time I walk into the kitchen, I have a glass of water. I have my water bottle here with me, but a glass of water and the teapot. And so my choice is, do I need to eat now, or do I need to make a cup of tea or have some water? Okay, now, plenty of times I say, forget it. I want whatever. But it's my trigger to remind me to drink water as opposed to eating when I'm not really hungry, and to eat well when I am hungry. And so whatever issues that you're dealing with, find something that works as a trigger. Maybe it's a stone, a rock that you put in a particular place, and when you're feeling anxious, you pick up that stone and use that to help you connect to that oneness within you. Or maybe it's this is one of the goddesses. Maybe it's a statue. Maybe it's an altar that you build. And whenever you're not able to accomplish what you're trying to change, that you go and stand with that altar or sit with your altar and say, what am I missing here? Why is this so hard? When I know I want to do XYZ, what's the barrier? And so what you do is begin this conversation with yourself, that you have something to help trigger you from going on with the same old patterns you've always had, and then carry on a conversation with yourself to hopefully help you make a change in that. And there are other things, there are other methods, but that's one of the possibilities of things that you can do. So let me we are nearing the end of the hour here, and so what I'd like to do is go back to the ancestors, but I'm perfectly happy to stay on for a few minutes afterwards. But let me do this now, so anyone who needs to leave at this point can do that. And we start again with the center, saying, thank you, Divine Light, for being here and guiding us. Thank you to the Milky Way and the galaxy that we're in, with all of the energy that has come to us. And I turn to the north and I say, thank you, ancestors of the north, for having come today and being with us on our journey and helping us stand up with courage. Stay with us if you can, go if you must. And to the ancestors of the West, we say thank you. Thank you, beautiful ones who've come to teach us and fill us up with your knowledge. Thank you for being here. Thank you for guiding us. If you can stay with us, we welcome you. If you need to move along, thank you for coming. And to the South, the ancestors of the South who bring us joy and laughter and music and dance and rhythm and love. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And we know that some of you can linger with us and some of you need to move on to your next direction. Thank you for coming. And to the East, the illuminated light of the East always lights our path. But the ancestors of the East, thank you for guiding us as we come in today. We thank you, thank you, thank you. And we come back full circle and once again say thank you. And we hold the light. We let the light fill us up, refresh us, lift us, and encourage us. And we say thank you. Aho, Ashi, Amen. Blessed be, Hamdulillah, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I'm going to put us back on gallery. And if you need to leave at this point, by all means, feel free to do that. And if you'd like to hang out for a little bit and talk some, I'm happy to do that with you too. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Yeah, I'm seeing notes in the chat there coming through. Yeah,
Yeah, thank you so much, Peggy.
thank you. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a real pleasure. Appreciate it, Peg. That's me, Susan. I'll see you soon.
Okay. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
I don't mind hanging on for a bit, so I want to see if what you want to talk about. I'm really grateful for this because I'm not joining this kind of thing for very often, but I'm kind of am now, so it's lovely. Thank you.